Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Singaporeans, Prime Minister Lee said, vote, there's this thing circulating in WhatsApp, vote opposition to make PAP work harder. He said, this is perverse. You confuse yourself. You mess things up. And opposition which is strengthened but incapable. Now, PMD, whether the opposition is capable or not, is up to the people to decide. It's for the voters to judge. We just need to be in opposition in sufficient number to put pressure on the PAP to work harder. Mr. Lau Kia Kiang say 20. I would say 3-0. To deny PAP the 2/3 majority. Then they cannot change constitution anyhow they want. We want to contribute to the quality of debate in Parliament. We want to contribute ideas to nation building. Why is the Prime Minister so negative about opposition in Parliament?
They worry. They'll be
He forgot his father started as an opposition MP in 1955 in Tanjong Pagar. Did his father mess things up? No. Was his father confused? No. Certainly not. Then he said something. Instead of saying vote opposition to make PAP work harder, he turn it the other way around. Go and WhatsApp your friend, vote PAP to make opposition work harder.
They want to fix opposition.
If you vote PAP, opposition remains outside Parliament. How does opposition make the PAP? How does the PAP make the opposition work harder? No logic. There's no logic. We want to work harder in Parliament, not outside Parliament. What kind of logic is that?
PAP logic.
This is my fourth speech. Let me recap. My speech number 1 was about PAP lacking in fighting spirit. Once they lose the Congo East, Dr. Kopokun run away to Amokyo GRC. Ong Ikang run away to Sembawang. Desmond Chua from Hougang to Tampines. They have no fighting spirit. Until today, nobody has rebutted me from that camp. Because they have no fighting spirit.
Chicken. Because they know.
Mine's in white. MIW is mine's in white. It's no good for the nation. Because one of the 7 values of SAF is fighting spirit. How can you have a ruling party ruling Singapore without fighting spirit? Kiasu and Kiasi. And no wonder our society is also Kiasu and Kiasi. Because they are setting the tone. But we in the opposition, not Kiasu and not Kiasi. That's why we are here. My second speech was the culture of fear in Singapore. We all have fear. As long as ISA is there, we all have fear of Singapore. Fear, culture of fear, not of Singapore. of getting involved in opposition politics. I coined the term Singapore Stockholm Syndrome, where we feel beholden to the PAP, to our rulers. We are so afraid of opposing them. We are so grateful to them. We kowtow to them. We think they are the best. We think there is no alternative. And that is the Stockholm Syndrome. We are, as if we are in captive mode all the time. And that's no good for Singapore. We must get out of the Stockholm Syndrome and liberate ourselves. And that was my third speech. We need to free ourselves. The entire speech I devoted to the need to free from all the chains, the culture of fear. We have to free ourselves. I talk about delinking PAP from People's Association. I talk about delinking NTUC from PAP. I talk about modifying ISA. Tonight, I'm going to talk about healthcare and esteem of Singaporeans. About healthcare spending, I'm thankful to Winston, the MC, who gave you an example of someone in Singapore feeling the burden of paying so much for healthcare. Do you know we only spend 4% of the GDP on healthcare? And this is considered one of the lowest amongst developed countries. Most countries 8 to 10%. We only spend 4% of our GDP. Translated, it means on an average, Singaporeans spend 12 billion on health. The PAP government only coughed out $4 billion. The $8 billion come from your pockets, come from Medisave and Medishield. Medisave and Medishield are still your money. Yeah. So out of pocket, that means PAP only fund 1/3. Out of your own pocket, you come up 2/3. That's why people are feeling the burden of healthcare. And the next thing that is very worrisome is medical tourism. Restructured hospitals are meant for Singaporeans, but restructured hospitals are involved in medical tourism. In other words, they are going to the region to attract patients to Singapore restructured hospitals, like SGH, right? It's a restructured hospital. Even NUH, even Alexandra, even Tua Payoh, these are all restructured hospitals. Changi General, these are all restructured hospitals. So we are asking medical tourists from the region to come to our restructured hospitals. And what happened? They compete for beds with Singaporeans. And that's not healthy. Because restructured hospitals must be for Singaporeans first. Somewhere along the line, planning went wrong. Somewhere along the line, there was complacency, thinking that big supply is sufficient to meet the demands of foreign medical tourists. But you and I know it is still not sufficient. Medical beds are still insufficient, even for our own Singaporeans, let alone for medical tourists. So this is an example of bad planning and complacency as far as medical expenditure is concerned. I'm going to move to esteem. Policies in Singapore must bring up the self-esteem of Singaporeans. I'm going to give you one example, the Hope Scheme. How many of you have heard of the Hope Scheme? Raise your hand. It was started in 2004 by the then NCYS, now it's NSF, for poor family in Singapore, if you're poor, earning less than 1,700 a month, and you have only 2 children, you apply for the HOPE scheme. They give you grant, $60,000 grant for you to buy a house. So HOPE stands for Home Ownership Plus Education Scheme. And you maximum can only have 2 children. If you happen to have a 3rd child, you must go for abortion of the 3rd child. Otherwise, you will have to pay back whatever money the government gave to you. This is the HOPE scheme. One doctor wrote in 2013 in a letter to Straits Times. He did an abortion and he asked the woman, why do you need to come for a 3rd abortion? The woman has got 2 children and came for her 3rd abortion. 3rd abortion. And the woman said, I have no choice. I can only have 2 children because I'm under the HOPE scheme. The moment I have a 3rd child, the scheme will be cancelled and I got to pay back whatever the government has given to me. Isn't that very funny? On the one hand, you want to increase the fertility rate. On the other hand, you are asking this woman to go for abortion. Something is fundamentally wrong with the HOPE scheme. You get it? Something is fundamentally wrong. Why are we discriminating against lower income couples by penalizing them for having more than 2 children? Why can't we allow them to have a 3rd, 4th or 5th child and allow them to give it for adoption, give it away for adoption? Because there are many childless couples waiting to adopt children. Then you don't have to go for abortions. Then your policy is consistent. You want to have high fertility rate, you must encourage procreation and not encourage abortion. So that's an example of how a policy can affect the esteem of a person. My question to Mr. Tan Choon Seng, before he became Secretary General of NTUC, he was Minister in NSS. Did he not realize the HOPE scheme was in fact contradicting our attempt to encourage Singaporean mothers to have more babies? So there's a contradiction here. Was an effort made to modify the scheme or even adjust the scheme a bit?
You were sleeping on the job.
What is that?
You were sleeping on the job.
You are sleeping on the job. Now, this is just an example, a very simple example about how a policy can affect the esteem of Singaporeans. Okay, that's HOPE. Next is foreigners who are not well qualified taking over certain key positions. That can also affect esteem of Singaporeans. Right? Imagine you are waiting to take over as head of a department. You are eager, you are ready, you were considered as qualified to take over as head of department. And then a foreigner appeared. The foreigner took over your position, took over the head. You were ready to be head, but the foreigner took over as head. That will affect your emotional health immediately, because you were waiting eagerly to take over as head. Unfortunately, a foreigner came. You don't mind if the foreigner is more qualified, better qualified than you. Unfortunately, sometimes that foreigner is not as qualified as you. And then that's where the unfairness comes. That's where the anger, the frustration appear. And I can tell you there are many such cases out there. people waiting to take over a department, and suddenly a foreigner comes and take over the department. And it doesn't stop there. When the foreigner comes, eventually his friends from that particular country will come as well. And in no time, the whole department will be flooded with people from that country. Is this fair to Singaporeans? That's why we have to be careful. A policy like that can affect the esteem of Singaporeans, and it's not fair to the Singaporeans. Then I shift on to brain drain. Why are Singaporeans leaving Singapore? Qualified, educated, successful Singaporeans. On an average, 1,000 Singaporeans leave the nation every year. Shocking. I'm quoting from a study done in 2006, the Asian Barometer study, and another study done in 2002, the longitudinal survey of immigrants to Australia. And they discovered, and they asked them, you Singaporeans, why are you coming to Australia? What is the reason? And the most common reason is they are anti-PAP, they are looking for pro-democracy country to go to. So most of them will go to Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and United States. Right? They feel that in those places, they don't feel oppressed. They don't feel oppressed. And they say the following. They say in Singapore there's limited freedom. There's high-handed control of daily life. There is government intolerance of opposition. And short-sighted, forever changing government policies. Those were reasons cited in this study. This study is available online, just published in July 2015. Okay. So it is very clear the political environment in Singapore seems to be the most important factor in determining immigration from Singapore. People are leaving, besides greener pasture, they are leaving because they cannot stand the political climate here. You have already heard from Fahmi just now how unfair it is, how unfair the political situation is. Okay, so this is one of the main reasons why people are leaving Singapore, the political atmosphere here.
Very true, Dr. Ang.
Yeah, thank you very much. So that's brain drain. Therefore, enough is enough. That's why the 10 of us are here. We feel that if you vote PAP, you're voting more of the same. No new formula, the old formula. What are the features of the old formula? Parachuting army generals and police officers and civil servants into the political arena overnight. Resorting to threats, a lot of threats, dangling 5-year plan and carrots before and during each GE. Growth at all costs, economic growth at all costs. Inderjit Singh left PAP not long ago. He made a powerful speech in May last year in Parliament. And basically the main thrust of his speech is, yes, we are wealthy, yes, we have economic growth, but Singaporeans' well-being is not being looked into. We still have unhappy Singaporeans. We still have Singaporeans who feel that they don't fit into the society. And he is very worried. He mentioned it last year. He decided that's it, enough of the PAP. And you heard from Winston, they're so reluctant to give you financial assistance. The financial assistance is means tested, targeted and means tested. So we need a new narrative. We need to grow, yes, economic growth, but it must not be at the expense of our emotional well-being. We will increase social spending, $6 billion, which comes from the earnings of the reserves, the NIRC, National Income from the reserves, okay? And that $6 billion is in our manifesto, okay? So we are growing with a heart. In fact, our logo is represented by a round shape representing the head, and the heart is right inside the head. So we think with our heart.
Oh. Yes, Dr. Ang.
Some people think our logo looks like Wall's ice cream. Wall's ice cream is too hard. Ours is only one heart. We only have one heart. Cannot have two hearts, one heart and one head. But it's okay to be associated with Wall's ice cream. Because on Friday, when you go to vote, please vote Wall's ice cream. I don't mind. You vote PAP, you are voting for their future. You vote SingFirst, you are voting for our future. (1968 to 1981), for 13 years, the entire parliament was PAP only, 100% PAP. Until one man called JB Jararatnam punctured a hole in 1981. He punctured Anson, and the unthinkable happened. After 13 years, Anson was won by the Workers' Party. And where is Anson now? Gone. Anson is now part of Tanjung Pagar. So on Friday, we will puncture a hole. This time is Tanjung Pagar TRC. We have given PAP 50 years to rule the nation. Please give us one chance to prove we are capable of running Tanjung Pagar TRC. Please give us one chance to show you we can run Jurong TRC. Ladies and gentlemen, SingFirst is a serious party. We are only 1 year old and we are already in 2 TRC. We want to build a fair society with strong families, and you feel esteemed as a people. That is our vision for Singapore. Basically, the young in Singapore must have hope and opportunities, so that together we will be able to build a better Singapore. So, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much. Vote for change. Restore our nation. Vote SingFirst.
Wong